I have a question for you, basically. Do you think a gun is going to do you any good? Why do we own guns? Like, to be honest, here's my thoughts. Basically, if you had to use it now, you're going to lose your whole fucking life. Like, this is why the entire populace is just kowtowed fucking pacified pussies. They're afraid of losing everything they own. And, like, eh, in reality, no one's going to fight the fucking government. Like, I'm seriously considering selling almost all of my guns and buying a bow and arrow. I know that sounds crazy to some of you. I don't know. I would always have some guns, but like this is my point basically is like I have several $1,000s locked up in 5.56 rifles and ammunition and mags and shit and associated equipment even. Why? I question why we have this shit. It doesn't it doesn't seem like they're ever going to give us a fucking fight. None of you all are ever going to fight. Because none of you all are ever going to fight, it kind of makes me think that, like, why own guns at all? Like, I could have a black powder revolver and a bow and arrow and probably be happier. I think I'm officially becoming neo Amish. I'm getting off of the technological tree, and I'm gonna keep black powder guns and bows for hunting and fun shooting and whatever, and I'm gonna keep a handful of pistols for defending myself. And I might keep like a rifle or something. I don't know. That's where it's like it would be real fucking tempting just to sell everything. Like sell everything but the black powder revolver and the fucking Sally 1911. And half of my thing with selling them is basically I'm not going to get to enjoy them. I don't have money for ammunition, and we never will at this point. Not unless the country completely fucking changes direction. And this is like logistical resupply for myself is it's going to become an issue. This is why I, started buying other shit to begin with. And I really think that basically for the AR-15s, I either need to sell those or I need to cash them. And if I cash them, I don't know where I would do that. But this is the thing is I think it's highly likely that they come and try to confiscate all our fucking guns long before we try to fucking fight back. That's coming. They're doing it with the ATF and shit. My goal at this point is to get the van rigged out, to get my black powder revolver worked out for defending said van, and to get a bow and arrow because I just want that. It's like the pistol, the black powder revolver is a replacement for a sidearm. It's not a replacement for a rifle. A heavy pound bow with broadheads is a replacement for a rifle, really. It's not a great one, but it has advantages. It's reusable. It's silent. Like this is what you're essentially looking at in this video and really this whole series now is I'm trying to figure out what guns I'm going to need to put in the van for the Mad Max apocalypse. And at this point, the black powder revolver is high on my list just because it's easy to resupply. The bow is real easy to resupply. It's one of those like, how much good is a car without gasoline? Go watch Beyond Thunderdome. Realize that like we're gonna have oxes hooked up to our fucking cars. We're gonna like this is if we're really like going to this shit, like eventually there will be desert nomads with oxen or horses pulling fucking wagons made of cars. And when I say that, I mean like they'll take a car and they'll strip all the shit out of it that doesn't have to do anything with anything, and they'll use it as a rolling chassis. Like there's a bunch of engine components in a car that you can pull out and make it a lighter wagon. There's, the seats and interiors of said car. Like I pulled out the rear seat of that fucking van. That thing weighs a fucking ton. It weighs as much as a person. Anyway, this is where my head is at though. As I keep thinking about like, okay, so shit's getting worse. How am I going to resupply this weapon? At this point, I'm glad I bought a sword. Like when I was talking to E Honda and the boys, everybody was making fun of me for talking about buying a sword. Here my thoughts on that. The sword I bought is made in India. Anything made overseas, the price isn't really the price. You're paying them in blood money right now because we are America. What happens when that stops? And like we already are de-dollarizing the oil dollar shit that was petrodollars gone. Shit's bad. And with shit being bad, the swords that I would buy are all from India and China. Swords take a lot to make, and like for cheap ones that are halfway decent, India, China, maybe Pakistan. Pakistan has shitty steel. I wouldn't buy shit from Pakistan. The sword that I bought is it's a windlass made for cold steel scimitar. I just think it's dope. It's one of those like, can you defend yourself with a sword in the modern era? Surprisingly well, believe it or not. Most gunfights happen well within sight of sword range. Like, oh, well, they'll just shoot you. In the heat of the moment, I kind of figured, unless they're real wise, they're probably going to get skewered. Uh, I'm not advising you to do what I do. What I'm saying is I'm building out some old school weapons to have as an emergency backup. And I'm kind of considering selling the modern weapons and just going with them simply because I think they're cool. It saves me money. And kind of in addition to that, I figure if we actually end up fighting the Civil War, there'll be plenty of fucking guns lying around. Be handing them out and shit. Hi, cat. It would be dope to get a PVS 7. I could do that real easy if I sold a couple guns. What are you doing? I don't know. I have too many things on my wish list right now. I'm going to focus hardcore on car mods because I think we're going to need them, basically. What are you doing? Oh, I really need to go get like a new set of tires and new brakes and new belts and do all of that shit to that car. kind of thing, going to a brake and muffler shop where I had my thing straight piped and being like, I want new brakes and everything else that you can replace. That dude was cheap as fuck. I need to find a good mechanic. Really, I need to be a good mechanic, and to some extent, I am. But to some things, like figuring out the gremlins that are in the car's door system from having a new driver's side door put on, yeah, that's a bit beyond my capabilities, to be honest. I'm sure we could figure it out, but it would help to go talk to someone who knows a little bit about fucking minivans. I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking we would be better off selling all of the guns and getting a whole bunch of food and tools? Like, I think we all have too many guns. I downsized quite a bit to get to where I am now, and I'm happy with where I'm at. But at the same time, I can't carry all of the guns that I have. Like, oh, that's a good problem to have. It is, but at the same time, even loading them in a car, like, it's a pain in the ass to take it all with you. I need to figure out the guns that I'm actually going to carry and use in this new world we're entering into and just keep those. I think the Takedown 22, that's a highly likely going to be a car gun. For the simple fact that it is cheap as fuck and pretty effective. Should have sold the Flex Raider before I chopped it and painted it. I also kind of love it the way it is. Like, this is my thing. I don't want to sell any of these. I don't think I'm going to sell any of these. But this is the thought that occurs to me almost every day is I think in reality what we need is some sort of a black powder revolver and a pretty heavyweight bow. And the reason I say the black powder revolver is I can make black powder and I can make lead balls. Percussion caps, of all of the things to make that set off guns, it is the most basic bitch one to make. Those are easier to make than large rifle primers or some shit. And I want something that I can shoot for fun and for self-defense. And I think that's the black powder revolver and 1911. And the reason I have the 1911 in there is between being able to hand load 45 and knowing about a billion people with a Dillon 550 that can reload 45 for you. I like that idea. I like having a 1911. Plus, Crom is set up for the 21st century. She needs new sights. But again, that's real low priority. Although maybe it shouldn't be. Like, this is half of the thing is I've been buying AR-15 parts. I really need night sights for my fucking 1911. We'll do that eventually. I'm going to do the car shit first. Oh. Like, the difficult thing with the car shit is it includes $100 parachute, $100 worth of tarp poles, and $180 worth of tarps. And that, doesn't sound like a lot of money, but like when you add all of that up, that's, better part of $400. I don't know. I might eliminate the tarps, just get the parachute. Like, that's honestly, I think I should. I've been going through my shit at the fan shopping list and just scratching shit off the list. And I think I'm scratching. I don't know. Tarps and bayonet are the ones that I'm like, should I scratch that or not? Like gas masks. And like I would consider like gas masks and filters and PVS-7 and a laser to be in like once we have everything else, we'll worry about those. The thing with the gas mask is basically I'm not buying a gas mask for NBC reasons. I'm buying a gas mask in case someone decides to roll us with riot control agent for whatever reason. Like, that's a real threat. Like, we did that in Vietnam. For those who aren't in the know, MACV-SOG and LERPs and shit like that, they started carrying gas with them and using it because it was effective and they could bring gas masks, and the Vietnamese didn't expect it. And some of the gas that they used was riot control agents. That's what they started out using early on in the war. As that became kind of less effective, they switched to even using some nerve agents, from what I understand. But that's all like whispers and shit that never happened, right? That's war crimes to use fucking nerve agent on Vietnamese. I think we 100% did that shit. But in any case, tear gas is a real threat. It, depending on who you are and how much exposure you've had to that kind of shit, it will have a varying effect on your ability to be combat effective. But for the vast majority of people, upon exposure to it, like your nose and eyes just start spewing snot. It makes it very difficult to do anything. And like, this is half of why we use it instead of nerve agent, is that makes you combat ineffective for the most part. But if our own dudes get exposed to it, it's not that big a deal. And this is where chemical warfare started out, essentially. I think we're about to see a fucking rebirth into chemical warfare like you ain't ever fucking seen. Uh, Basically, World War One started out nasty, nasty, and then eventually we kind of got to, we're going to outlaw these things because we're fighting each other and there's no one else here, and like, this is insanity. So all of the things that caused us to start using gas on each other, China and fucking Russia have those in spades. We will gas them. Just flat out putting that out there. If you don't think that the U.S. military is above, chemical warfare, you are sadly mistaken. We're not above nuclear warfare. And right now, there's a lot of shit going on that, like, there's a bunch of people that don't fully comprehend that just because nothing has happened for 70 years doesn't mean that the game is different. The game is global domination, gentlemen. And America does it the best. Right now, we have a generation of soft people that were born on the backs of an aging empire. We're going through a transition period now, and I'm excited to see what's on the other side of it. There's the part of me that's all like doom and gloom and like we should just go sell all the fucking guns because there is no hope. And then there's the part of me where there's a glimmer. America had forgotten who she was, and she'd been lied to by politicians for the last 100 years. The America that I know died in like 1900. The America that I know died in like 1865 in some ways. This is a free republic of confederated states. Well, that's my phone. I'll see you guys later.